Yeah, I'd hope so.
Don't touch me. I'll beat your brains out.
You believe in miracles? Yes! I mean, you can take a knee and try a 56-yard field goal. This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Let's get ready for rumble. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Going crazy. Down, going crazy. California! The big game over Stanford!
I think that the NFL knows what Randy Moss has done with marijuana, and I think the NFL knows what Randy Moss does with marijuana.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Good morning, and thank you for joining me.
Top of the morning. Those of you already on Facebook Live, also those of you on Instagram Live, and the millions listening around the world on Blog Talk Radio, live from Hollywood, this is Tough Love, and I am Alistair. Hope you all are having a fantastic Sunday morning. As you can, it's so funny. I do the mystery mask on Facebook Live, and I think it's hilarious. I just think it's funny. I don't give a shit. This show is not serious at all, and so I'm just having fun with it. Those on Instagram Live, you can't see it, but I think it's funny. Those on Facebook Live, I've got googly eyes and a purple mustache. This is fantastic. So anyway, again, hope you all are doing well. I'm putting in some work, as you can see, lifting some weights. My brother, what's up? I should probably get a orange and white headband because I thought that actually looked pretty good. But anyway, Denver, top of the morning. Not too much. I'll be honest with you, not too much to get to. Last week, it seemed like there was a lot to get to. This week, that doesn't seem like there's a lot to get to, although it is the World Cup, which I give a shit about. You guys know that. I'm not a soccer guy. And the NBA draft was this week. The NHL draft was this week. If you're a Wild fan, like myself, I don't know where we're going as the Minnesota Wild. You ugly. Denver, you're absolutely right. I am ugly. But look at that headband. I think, yeah, see, isn't this great? If you're a Wild fan, man, I'm telling you, I see Dougie Fresh is on here. I know he's a Wild guy. My brother, obviously. I don't know what to do. If you're a Wild fan, we're kind of in a real tight position. So hope for the best. Sit back and hope for the best, I guess, is all we can do. But the NHL draft was on. The NBA draft is on. But real quick, I want to talk about the World Cup for a second. Only because a couple things. Is it ironic that the World Cup is in Russia and, Russia goes 2-0 to start with? Now, keep in mind, I'm not sitting here saying Iran or Saudi Arabia is, stalwarts in the world, when it comes to soccer. But I have a hard time not thinking that there was, a call made or an offer that they couldn't refuse, a la The Godfather, by Russia to Saudi Arabia, Russia to Iran, just saying, you're going to lose this game. You're going to lose this game, or your team plane crashes on the way home as I'm in my Luke Skywalker helmet. I have a hard time thinking that didn't happen. I have a feeling, this is awesome. Justin says World Cup ratings are down 44% from 2014 and is averaging just under 2 million viewers a game. Well, I hate to say I told you so to those of you who I was in a massive brawl and debate with on Facebook when I put out the post that World Cup is like Valentine's Day. Nobody cares about it until it comes around. I had a lot of pushback, especially from one guy. But, you know, I mean, this just proves it. And, you know, I mean, if the U.S. was in the World Cup, that would be different. There's no doubt. But they're not. And, you know, Americans just don't care. I'm sorry. You know, the Latino community, absolutely. Other people who care about soccer worldwide like it. But here, we're just waiting. We're waiting for, Chris, top of the morning. We're just waiting for football season. Nobody cares about soccer. I'm sorry. And Justin just put the stat up. Down 44% from 2014. Think about that, averaging under 2 million viewers per game. I'm telling you, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. One thing that I found amusing, though, is England just kicked the shit out of Panama this morning, 6-1. Costa Rica lost, you know, their first 2 games. I don't know how the World Cup, exactly. I don't know, Dave, my brother, is like, no, we don't. We do not care. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Ladarius. That's who I'm talking about. The one guy on the Facebook who's like, it's popular. That, bottom line, whatever. But Panama is in the World Cup. They got housed 6-1 by England today. Costa Rica goes 0-2 in their 2 games, and they got a third coming up. Meanwhile, the Netherlands and Italy aren't even in it. They're not even in it. So I don't know how it's all set up, who goes, and I know that they have like qualifiers and this type of stuff, but I'm telling you right now, England would not have beat the Netherlands 6-1, or Italy. Anthony, all I'm saying is, you know, it would be better for teams that, like the Netherlands, like Italy, world powers when it comes to soccer. Why they're not in, I don't know. I don't give a shit. You know, it's soccer. And so therefore, you know, it's just funny to see like, oh, England beats Panama 6-1. It's like, well, yeah. Although America couldn't beat, you know, Panama like that. So we'll just say that. But I think America lost to Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, think about that. That's awesomely funny. Thank you, Mark. I like the outfits myself. I really do. I make all these look good. Those of you on Instagram, you can't see this, but every outfit, every headgear that's coming up, I rock every headgear. Look at that, Luke Skywalker. Oh, that's from last week. Look at that. So I just think it's funny. You know, also, one quick tidbit with the World Cup. You know, Ronaldo obviously is showing how good he is, but on the flip side, Lionel Messi, you know, and Argentina. What? I think they lost to Croatia, 3-0. Argentina. Lionel Messi missed the penalty kick in the first game. So I just, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to think about it. Everybody says, oh, Ronaldo's so much better because of this. You can't take a small sample size like this and just say one is better than the other. You can't do that in sports. That's like in the NBA taking, you know, a series and saying, oh, this guy's better than this guy because he didn't have as good a series. You can't do it. You have to look at the body of work. And Ronaldo and Messi are 1A, 1B. However you want to put them, A and B. That's it. The smashed in face is terrible. That's the worst one, Dave. It's terrible. I like this. I like the working out one. I love the headband one. But the face is terrible. That's horrible. That's terrible. I can't get over that. But either way, you know, it's soccer. And I will say this. All I want is, well, and Anthony is on there. Corradino, you're a Polak, and I want you guys to beat Colombia. We know why. But also, for Northeast Minneapolis, back home, Polak country, you know, that would be great for the Polacks in Northeast. That would be awesome. You know, you can go to the Spring Street bar and, you know, have a couple cocktails. Hopefully Colombia loses today. God dang, that would be so funny. That'd be so funny. I'm laughing too. I can't even concentrate on the show because I'm looking at all the headgears that come in. Oh, thank you. That reminds me. God, that face is terrible. My brother just said, go Mexico. Viva la Mexico. Here's the thing, I put out, it's just kind of a joke, but it's somewhat true. If you're not rooting for Mexico, I said, you're not a true American. I said it tongue in cheek. Most of the things that I put out on Facebook, if you haven't figured out by now, are to kind of get a reaction. Yet at the same time, it's true to the sense of this. My dad is, really good at saying, well, if the Gophers, Minnesota Gophers are Big Ten. If they're not in something, my dad always cheers for a Big Ten school. Say the national championship. If it's Ohio State versus Florida, my dad's cheering for Ohio State because he just wants a Big Ten team to do well. And so to me, I kind of look at it in the same thing in the sense that, America is in the qualifying league, if you will. I don't know how to say it, as Mexico. And by the way, there are southern brother border buddy, and it's why not? Everybody, is such a piece of shit when it comes to, why would you cheer for Mexico? It's a rival. It's like, I'm a Vikings fan, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I know Vikings fans hate to hear that, but it's just reality. How do you hate Aaron Rodgers? He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. I like Aaron Rodgers, and it's okay for me to like him. It's okay for Americans to cheer for Mexico in the World Cup. And by the way, they're 2-0. How fun is this? They beat Germany, the #1 team in the world, and then they beat someone else the other day. Yesterday, I think it was South Korea. I mean, come on. It was good for them. I love it. I think it's great for Mexico's winning. And the best part, the reason why I want Colombia to lose today is because we have a guy at work, Sebastian, who's Colombian, but he was shitting on the Mexican team and my Mexican friends at work, saying, Mexico sucks. They barely got in. They didn't have to play anybody to get in. And so he's ragging on Mexico, and he's talking about how great Colombia is. And then what happens? Mexico beats Germany, and Colombia loses. I don't even remember to who, nor do I care, but they lost. And so it was hilarious. And now Colombia plays today against the Polacks from Poland. And if Colombia loses, they're out. And Mexico would be in. And he comes back to work tomorrow. And it would just be fun. It would be so fun to talk shit to this kid who ragged on the Mexican team and talked about how great the Colombian team was. And, it would just be great. Well done. Because all the 2,300 separated children are... I don't know what that means, Dave. My ADD just kicked in, and then my brother put something on there. B-Rad! Top of the morning, buddy. But, I just go Polacks. I want the Polacks to win. It looks like Japan and Senegal. You know what's so funny? This is something that just came to mind, too. It's like March Madness. The World Cup is a lot like March Madness in the sense that during the college basketball season, nobody gives a shit about Wisconsin, Green Bay versus Miami of Ohio, right? During the season. But come March Madness and tourney time, all of a sudden everybody, oh my God, you have to watch it. And it's like this, Japan and Senegal. Who cares about Japan and Senegal except for Japan and Senegal? And that face is terrible. But it's now it's the World Cup and everybody's, Japan and Senegal. It's so funny. People are just humorous. So anyway, I just saw on the headline 2 banned for Nazi salutes at the World Cup. Racism isn't only in America, people. Racism in America is mild compared to the racism across the world. Nazi salutes at the World Cup. Hey, bring the world together. Why not? So that's the World Cup. Halfway in. I don't know. If anybody's called, I apologize. I haven't looked at that screen. I'm working out, as you can see. Let me see here. If you do want to call in, 213-943. Oh, because, oh my, I love it, Dave. 213-943-3423. If you really feel the need. Okay, NBA draft was Thursday. I think that's when it was. And what's interesting is I was watching the McDonald's All-American game when it was LeBron back in 2003. And it's funny to watch a McDonald's All-American game 10, 15 years later. See the kids, those eyes are awesome. To see the kids who are playing in it and then the ones who have actually made it 10 years later and who are in the league. Like Charlie Villanueva was in that game. LeBron was in that game. Chris Humphries from Hopkins, Minnesota was in that game. I'm trying to think of the other players, but the bigger thing is so many of these players in the McDonald's All-American game, you have no idea who they are today. They never went on to play, make a name for themselves even in college, not even so much the pros. So as the draft happens on Thursday night, you got all these names, DeAndre Ayton to Phoenix, and Marvin Bagley, Luka Doncic, McHale Bridges, Michael Porter Jr., Trae Young, all these players who, are top college athletes and top college players. 10 years from now, what names on this list are actually going to be about? What about LiAngelo Ball not getting drafted? Straight up trash. I love that the Ball brother didn't get drafted, and even more so than that, Ladarius. I love the fact that supposedly the Lakers had a underneath the table handshake with the Ball family about bringing LiAngelo on the team for the summer league. Look at the googly eyes. And that didn't happen either. I love it. If they were smart, they'd probably just cut ties with the Ball family, trade Lonzo. Even though I kind of like Lonzo's game, I really do. I think he's kind of a poor man's Rubio or a Rajon Rondo right now. God, that face. Oh, that's terrible. Wow. But you know what? Even though that some of these players aren't going to be around and we're never going to hear from them and they're going to be busts, it's just like the NFL draft. It's all about what your team has to pick the guy to fit your system and make sure that his talent isn't going to be wasted. And I guess I should say almost the opposite. You should draft a guy and fit your system to bring him in. It's such a fine line. It's finicky. Like, you got Mohamed Bamba going to Orlando. And I just, I look at him and, I don't know. The guy's 6'11", 2.25, and he's a twig and, inside presence, but he's in Orlando. Is it going to work in Orlando? There's certain teams in the league that unfortunately are super teams and other teams that aren't. Sacramento gets Marvin Bagley III, great player, but it's Sacramento. Nobody wants to go to Sacramento, free agent wise, so you have to build through the draft, and not everybody is going to be as lucky as Phoenix right now. DeAndre Ayton looks the part, right? He looks like he's going to be a stud, has an all-around game that's going to fit the NBA well. But not only that, they got McHale Bridges, which, by the way, how funny was that? Guy gets drafted by Philadelphia. He goes to Villanova, which is in Philadelphia. His mom works for Philadelphia 76ers in the front office. Celebration everywhere, right? And then after his press conference with Philadelphia, he gets traded. I love it. Oh, Dave, love you guys. My brother and my niece are going out on the boat. Wish I could join you. That'd be awesome. But have a great time. Love you. And so, but McHale Bridges says, oh, by the way, you're traded to Phoenix, though. Think about Phoenix real quick. And I'm not saying Phoenix is going to do anything this year. But you got DeAndre Ayton. You got McHale Bridges. I will go down and I'll see who else they got. But they're adding to Devin Booker, who, by the way, is one of the on the cusp of being one of the league's elite scorers. I just have a problem with his injury bug. Something about that kid, it's just he misses too much time. When he plays, he's impressive. He averaged, I think, 25 points a game last year. And on top of that, you got Josh Jackson from last year. So Phoenix, through the draft, has the opportunity to be really good. The Spurs are the same way. Obviously with Kawhi possibly wanting out, what happens there? What do? They go and they get that kid from Miami, Lonnie Walker, to maybe fill the void left by Kawhi Leonard. Certain teams are lucky. Look at the Lakers. Lakers have been shit for 5 years now. And yet everybody still wants to go to Los Angeles. Why? Because it's Los Angeles. The sun shines. I would argue there might not be too many better places on earth that it would be better to be a millionaire in. Los Angeles. Beaches, women, mountains, the perfect weather. You're loved on the basketball team. It just makes a lot of sense to want to be in Los Angeles comparatively to San Antonio, Sacramento, Oklahoma City. There's just certain places that, unfortunately, it's not, too fun to want to go. Hold on a sec. I was looking at Devin Booker injuries. But, there was a lot of teams that actually did well. Michael Porter Jr. to Denver. It's interesting that Cleveland, Cleveland, you don't know for sure if LeBron is leaving or not. But Cleveland sitting at 8, and granted, they need a point guard. There's no doubt about it. But they ended up getting Colin Sexton, the guard from Alabama, who, don't get me wrong, good player, has to improve his shot. But they could have gotten Michael Porter Jr., 6'11", 211. The kid is he's actually 6'10", I want to say. But the kid is going to be a star if healthy. Obviously, he fell because of his back. Denver, on the cusp, they were a 9 seed last year. They missed out on the playoffs, I think, by a half a game or a game. Actually, didn't they have a play-in? Was it us and Denver and Minnesota for the play-in for the last spot? I think it was. Bottom line, Denver is on a cusp of being a playoff team. If they add Porter and he's healthy, like he said in the interview afterwards, he's ready to go. He could be the steal of the draft. There's no doubt about it. This kid is a really, really epic talent. But he's a back injury away from, being a wasted pick and a sad story, really. But Cleveland could have had him and replaced LeBron with this kid. Not saying he's going to be the next LeBron. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is Colin Sexton doesn't do it for me if I'm a Cavs fan versus Michael Porter Jr., who could have come in, if healthy, and really wrecked the league quickly, comparatively to Colin Sexton. I don't believe Colin Sexton's going to come in and do anything spectacular off the start. But here's, as a Timberwolves guy, I'm going to just talk about them real quick. And I know I've got some on Facebook who like the Timberwolves too. Minnesota ends up getting Josh Okogie, who is a shooting guard from Georgia Tech. Not bad. I like the Wolf look. I gotta be honest. I like the Wolf look. But it's funny how Tom Thibodeau, coach and GM of the Timberwolves, drafts 2 players that he and the ESPN telecast said are hard workers, give 110% on both ends of the floor. I don't think it's coincidence that Tom Thibodeau drafted these guys because of their toughness, because of their will and their want to give 110% all the time, both ends of the floor. Andrew Wiggins obviously doesn't. Look at that. I didn't know that. I could control the ears on that mask. KarlAnthony Towns doesn't give. They're both very good offensive scorers. There's no doubt. Defensively, they're liabilities. They're terrible, in fact. Obviously, you're not getting rid of KarlAnthony Towns. But bringing in Josh Okogie, along with, let me click on it. I can't remember. Keita. I want to say it's Keita. Keita BatesDiop. Big Ten Player of the Year, by the way, from Ohio State. Another small forward. Think about it. A small forward and a shooting guard. Jimmy Butler's hinting that he might not want to return because of Andrew Wiggins. And so they go and they get a replacement for Jimmy Butler and a replacement for Andrew Wiggins. I'm not saying either of those two are going anywhere. I'm just saying both of these guys are touted because of their toughness and their will to give 110% on both ends of the floor. And that is something that the current roster, two, in fact, in particular, on the Timberwolves, Andrew Wiggins, KarlAnthony Towns, don't want to give. I love that orange and white headband. I really do. Pump and iron on a Sunday morning. So that's the thing that stands out to me as a Timberwolves fan. I'm interested to see what happens to these guys. What happens? I'm surprised that Wiggins wasn't traded. I'm honest with you. I am so surprised that Wiggins wasn't traded on Thursday night. And obviously he still could be. But you have to find a taker and make the salaries match in the NBA, which Wiggins just started his max contract, I think, this year. And so you have to find somebody who's willing to take that back, and you have to take back, the equal amount of money. Even if it's in a dump, take somebody back and then, it's a 1 year type of a deal, and then his salary comes off the books. So, at the end of the day, I think it was a good draft for the Timberwolves. I really do. I think it was a solid draft. I think both of these guys can be good players, especially on the defensive end. It's Thibodeau. I don't necessarily know if he's still a good coach or not. He plays his players a lot, but if you're 22, 23, your body can take it. I don't care. Your body can take it, bottom line. If you're 30, 32, 33, that's a different story. But I think both of these guys for the Timberwolves can come in and do really well in his system. I think that's what he did. He got guys to fit his system, where there's a couple on the team who don't want to buy into his defensive mentality. That's
90
stars
seconds.
These days, basketball kids, stars, from such a young age, they're spoiled so much. And so therefore, by the time they get to the NBA, they don't want to be yelled at. And Tom Thibodeau is a yeller. And so therefore, you have to get guys who aren't possibly the 5-star recruits who've been babied their whole lives, because all of a sudden you start yelling at them, they're not going to respond to it the same way somebody who's had to work their ass off has. It's the same thing in football. If you get a 3-star guy to your college comparatively to a 5-star guy, generally that 3-star guy is going to have a better work ethic. He's not going to get off just sheer off talent. He's going to give a little bit more because he has to, compared to the 5-star guy who just gets off on sheer talent, if that's, if that makes sense. Anyway, I've got like 30 seconds. I was going to, hit on Trump. You guys, real quick, you should all love Trump, all right? And I'm not a backer of him. I didn't vote. I don't care about politics, really. But it's funny because I've said this 1,000 times. I'll leave you with this. Trump is the perfect representation of America. Reality TV star, obnoxious, And that's the way it is. You should love them. I'm out on Blog Talk. Love you guys. Have a great Sunday. See you next Sunday. Those of you on Facebook Live, I'm making it rain right now in that gold chain and gold headband. And Instagram Live, thank you so much for joining. I got homework to do. I'm going to go and get a workout in. Enjoy my Sunday. Hopefully you guys do too. A shout out to Denver. Happy birthday, brother. I hope you have a great one. And I will see you on Wednesday. The rest of you, drive fast, take chances. I will see you next Sunday. Tough love's out. Adios.